Welcome to The Code. Construction, design and engineering. This is India's #1 construction podcast.
Hi and welcome to your favorite construction podcast, The Code. कंस्ट्रक्शन, डिज़ाइन और इंजीनियरिंग अधूरा रह जाता है उस फील्ड के दिग्गजों से बात किए बिना, उनकी सलाह लिए बिना और उनसे सीखे बिना. This whole journey is about learning, isn't it? It is not just about learning, it is also about learning and doing it right the first time. And the epitome of that is Architect Professor Charanjit Shah. He's here with us today and we are so fortunate that he's given us his time. Sir, namaskar. कैसे हैं आप? It is such a pleasure that you've taken the time to come and meet us and to talk with us. तो पहले तो उसके लिए शुरुआत से ही धन्यवाद आपका. आप, with your permission, shall I jump into the questions first?
Sure.
Thank you. Sir, architecture क्यों? You could have done anything. India was independent. शुरुआत हुई थी हमारी आज़ादी की. It is coincidental that the number of years that we've been independent, you're right there on the brink of it. And you've basically lived a wonderful life in this journey of architecture. But शुरुआत में ही architecture क्यों choose किया आपने?
पहले तो नमस्कार, सत श्री अकाल and आदाब. I think I'm very thankful to you for inviting me on one-to-one my journey of 55 years, yes, particularly into the architectural engineering practice. Before I ask, answer your question,
please,
I would rather express that how, the journey of perhaps profession of architecture can from a freelance to a corporate world.
Yes.
How this happened and the various stages of my practice, I would like to express that.
Please.
But I must say that I had no intention of becoming an architect.
Wow.
First of all, my parents were I actually was born in a refugee camp and in Purana Killa, and we didn't have much financial backup at that time, and it's like making you survival as the fittest. And but only thing what my parents had that okay, you must do some sort of a degree,
Yes.
जैसे सब लोग सोचते हैं यार कोई डिग्री कर लो, तो वो उन्होंने लेकिन उस समय क्या था कि मार्केट में सिविल इंजीनियरिंग, बिकॉज इंडिया वाज इन मेकिंग देयर लॉट ऑफ कंस्ट्रक्शन वर्क, सो एवरीबॉडी वाज जंपिंग इनटू सिविल इंजीनियरिंग. So my parents were also thinking that okay, let me do civil engineering. I got admission in Jodhpur Regional Engineering College for civil engineering degree, and simultaneously somebody told my father that there is a allied profession which is called as architecture. Perhaps I was not even able to speak out, and I used to say architecture. So that was what I knew about architecture, and I was very ignorant about this profession. But when I got admission in School of Planning and Architecture, Delhi,
yeah,
which is a premium institution,
Absolutely.
then my father said, "Oh, why didn't you do this?" And I was also thinking that he expressed me. I met some few people also, but my intention that time was doing a degree in Delhi was the economical crisis.
Yes.
That if I go to Jodhpur, I have to pay for hostel, going away from my house, and everything that maybe that my parents were not able to afford.
Yeah.
Why not do architecture? So that is how I call myself as an incidental architect. But I must express that the faculty at SPA was fantastic.
Wow.
I would say that whatever you say in the post-independence era, the type of architecture which was growing, and name anybody. They are all Padam Shiris, like maybe A.P. Kanunde, Raj Rawal, Jasbir Sachdev, Joseph Allenstein. All these guys, big names, what are teachers. And I express that as an ignorant person in the profession. They chiseled out, they framed out, and they were the one who were the knowledge treasure. They transferred that. It's like soul to soul connect,
Yeah.
You can understand that.
Absolutely.
That was the type. Yes, I admit that I had the passion. I had the attitude. I was thinking that, I must, become big. I must learn something. And that is, जैसे मैं तो कभी कभी कहता हूँ, जैसे कबीर जी ने, रामाचंद्र को जो गुरु बनाया, तो शायद वो क्योंकि जुलाए थे उनको, वो ब्राह्मण थे, वो कहते मैं नहीं बनाऊंगा, वो सीढ़ी के ऊपर बैठ गए और उन्होंने उनके पाँव छीन लिए और उन्होंने गुरु बना लिया. तो दैट इज द गुरु एंड शिष्य. दैट dialogue perhaps which today is missing, but that really inspired me, and that is how I think was chiseled out to become a absolutely understandable architect.
Wow.
So that is I can fairly.
सर थोड़ा डाइग्रेस करके आपकी एक बात पे एक सवाल पूछ सकता हूँ.
हाँ,
गुरु बड़ा या शिष्य बड़ा?
देखो ऐसे होता है कि कहते हैं कि बलिहारी गुरु आपने जिन गोविंद दियो मिलाए. So Guru is always supreme.
Yeah.
I would say that. And Guru gives you the knowledge of the universal power, the cosmic energy.
Yes.
And that is what architecture is all about. Architecture is nothing less than God. It is godly. It is a miniature God. God is called as God is one. No, God is only one, and He is the creator. And where does God live? He lives within His own creation. So I generally say that you are a mini creator. And where does an architect live? He has to live within his own creation. Whatever you create, that is the creation of an architect. And once you put soul into architecture, perhaps it's a touch. That touch will speak out. And once that touch is there, then I think, when you debated with me a little earlier, that is what is that a build mass should not be treated as a mass of brick and concrete, but as a living organism which breathes, which is embodied with nature, and we call it sustainable. So perhaps it is the interwovenness of many more things which are layered, again layered, and again layered, and then you make a composite design. So that I think during my study of 5 years in SPA inculcated many such aspects which were really made me very, it's like a full stamp on me. So I became you can say a following of that time, most of the people were following Lee Corbusier, who made Chandigarh. And it was absolutely a new venture, somebody doing such a progressive work in India, such large scale city was in making, and everyone was inspiring, to get to know many things. And I was very fortunate. I used to go there to Chandigarh, see things, perhaps in the initial stage with eyes you are blind. Because you don't have the understanding to really understand what is happening into the architecture, how the form plays, how the color plays, how the various masses, volume, everything has to be analyzed.
And such a wonderful city. Even today it baffles you how well planned and how spacious and beautiful it is.
Yes. So, but for a common person to understand that vocabulary, that geometry is also need to be understood. So it's like, I think learning from Chandigarh is from a micro to micro level, from a very small habitat to the city planning to composition of many more things. Otherwise, it's like, I would say, a Bible for us to understand into the architecture and planning.
Absolutely. So 55 years, what does good design mean for Professor Charanjit Shah?
See, Alchi, a definition of first design,
Yeah.
then good design.
Okay.
Design is an evolution. It's a process. It complements many more other things also. Design is not an art. It's functional. It is, I generally say design is for 3 P's: place, people, and purpose.
Wow.
Unless and until your design reflects to the place where you're making, the climatical conditions,
Yeah.
many more other aspects of the place. Second is the people. So for whom you are making. Unless and until I understand for whom I am making, what is the requirement like?
Yeah.
It has to have the functionality. And then definitely the purpose. So once all these 3 things are inculcated in the design and process is followed, that is the evolution. The journey of evolution, if it comes to perfection, then it's a good design.
Wow.
Good design is not aesthetics. Now sometimes you say you make form or you make functional.
Yes.
Somebody say, oh, I am very fascinated with a form, but it doesn't function. So how do you correlate what comes first? Does the form come first or the function come first? How do you complement form and function together
Okay.
and make a holistic design? So that is good design.
So it's often said form follows function.
So it's like form follows function or function follows form.
Yeah.
But I would give you another instance. Form.
Yeah.
When I was doing, though it's little early to in your debate, but I would say that when I was doing Chennai Airport,
Yeah.
we thought how a airport can be very dynamic, very iconic, and very global.
Yeah.
And also belongingness, it's an airport. So we started looking at it and our mental started working and we started a form. And form was wings of the bird. We said wings of the bird fly and we're making a terminal building, an airport, it's a sign of flying.
Yes.
So we made a form which is like wings of the bird, evolution of the form, then inserting simultaneously the functionality into the form
Yeah.
and make a terminal.
Yeah.
So that is how I don't say that we started looking at the form first, but definitely form is inspired
By function.
through the functionality and gives you an integrated design. That is how the evolution starts working.
I do want to talk to you about Chennai Airport, and there are so many nuances in that, and there were so many challenges within that project, things which were unforeseen before, elements which were non-existing in India. But वो एक अपने आप में एक बहुत बड़ा topic है. Right now, I just want to understand the design mind of Professor Shah. So I'm just asking you these questions, which are basic questions especially for the student audience that are listening. As a young professional, one of the biggest challenges that architects do face, this is in reference to a lot of friends I have who are in this community, they say सबसे बड़ा challenge आता है कि जब हमारा काम तो बढ़ता जाता है, scope of work भी बढ़ता जाता है समय के साथ, but हम अपनी fee नहीं बढ़ा पाते. We are not able to raise our fee. How do you think a young professional or somebody who's new 5-10 years into the profession can actually tackle this problem?
देखो मेरा तो फंडा बहुत अलग है. Maybe sometimes people may agree or people may disagree.
Sure.
But I read a lot of spiritual literature.
Okay.
Maybe Osho or Gita or Guru Granth Sahib and all. And to be very straight, I think Gita's one understanding, a dialogue between Arjuna and Krishna, will make everybody understand that, is the Karam Yoga. You have to be a Karam Yogi. Fees is secondary. Whenever you think of when you are a Karam Yogi, and forget about the dividend. Dividend is bound to come. But if you're working for the dividend, then you're doing business.
Absolutely.
The philosophy of Gita or Krishna is that you are an instrument to perform.
Yeah.
Once you perform and become a Karam Yogi, dividend will bound to come. And I will tell you that fees is more or less is only a measuring tape.
Yes.
But on your measure should be how best you are performing. And your performance is ought to give you the dividend. You know, never inspire to get the dividend, be inspired to get a satisfactory design. Once any design which is satisfactory and a good design, you are bound to get the dividend. So it's absolutely, it's not like an MBA.
I know what you mean.
No, when you have a passion, you have to forget about all those things. So I think passion is higher than the dividend, and dividend will definitely going to come to you, you know.
I want to tell my audience that sir is writing aspects of Mahabharata, and he told me this when I met him the first time. So there was a book lying in front of him, and he said, by the way, मैं तुझे बता दूं, मैं ये भी लिख रहा हूँ अपने तरीके से और अपनी learnings लिख रहा हूँ, which is something I wanted to share with you guys. But what about, सर, मैंने जैसे कहा कि पहली बार मैं आपसे मिला, I immediately understood that you're an immensely passionate architect. But there must be struggles to keep up the aspects of business also together. You run a very big firm. You have a lot of people with you. And it comes with a cost. I understand that the passion fuels the fire, but it doesn't fuel the stomach. And you have to worry about money sometimes, saying, okay, how will this be funded? How do you balance the passion with the aspects of the business? And when I say this, I dare say that the business that you're running is a big one, because bigger businesses have bigger challenges also. How do you balance the passion and the business together?
You know, why I said that in the initial stage, that I've learned from the freelance stage.
Yes.
Freelance means, when I earlier started, so if I get one project, I was not looking for any second project.
Yes.
So let me finish the first one, then I'll do the next one. Yeah. It's like passion going, satisfaction. So a client gets practically, satisfied.
Yeah.
Either he is a repeat client or he'll recommend you somewhere and you get this.
Some
because we are not those fortunate people that who have those larger contacts and people can bang on to us and we get it. Yeah. So that was the type of background which I had. But the only thing is, if I met my first client in the DTC bus.
Wow.
That time I was traveling, I didn't have any conveyance and I was in the bus. He was next seat sitting with me. So he said, what are you doing? I said, I'm an architect. He said, I have a house in Kotla, Mubarakpur. Can you do the renovation? I said, definitely. I went to the market, bought a measuring tape and went to his house and started looking at it and measured the whole thing. And I said, yes, this is how I can do it.
Wow.
I never told him that how much you will give me.
Yeah.
But I started it over. And when I did, he was fascinated that what a man, he without any money, he started and doing everything. And I gave him all the scheme and I did his work.
Yeah.
And I used to blush asking for my fees.
Yes.
In the initial stage. So but the people are, when you see the hard work, the sincerity, they ask you. They pay you.
What will you?
Because this is you earning your grub. So that is the type of passion that indirectly, again the Krishna theory, you get your dividend.
Yeah.
So this is how I perform.
Awesome. Young बच्चे जो आज हैं, they have this ideology that you become successful overnight. It is the internet feeding them. It is the stories of big industrialists like Elon Musk making $1 billion overnight in the share market. So there is this ideology to be successful very quickly. लेकिन शुरुआत जब, especially in a field of architecture, when you start, it's like your story, like you mentioned, कि एक घर renovate करने में by chance you met somebody in a DTC bus. Maybe the jobs that these kids, when they come out of architecture and start their own practice, शायद मिलती होंगी कि एक bathroom redesign कर दो, एक balcony plan करवा दो, या एक study room redesign कर दो. Those are like small odd jobs. And it doesn't come easy in the beginning. Do you have any message for these youngsters who think that they can strike gold very quickly in this profession? And when do they actually start enjoying the money in the profession, if you can please? Because क्या होता है कि देखिए आज we are living in a very physical world. Not every bent of mind is passion oriented only. The profession is also something which is a means to an end for them. And kids want to be successful. They want to own bigger houses. They want to have that snazzy car. They want to wear that Breguet watch. Aspirations बहुत बड़ी हो गई है ना. मेरे पेरेंट्स के टाइम पर भी यही होता था. वो मुझसे कहते थे देख यार नीड पूरी करने में उम्र निकल गई, अब डिज़ायर्स पूरे कर रहे हैं 50 के बाद, तो हमें घूमने दो. I want to travel the world. That was something that my dad used to love, कि मुझे दुनिया घूमनी है. तो उन्होंने 50 के बाद वो शुरुआत करी अपनी लाइफ में उस फ्रीडम की, बिकॉज वो स्ट्रगल का पीरियड बहुत लंबा था और वो समय भी ऐसा था. सो टू दीज यंगस्टर्स who think it is easy to achieve things overnight, especially in the field of architecture, do you have a message for these youngsters?
देखो ऐसे कि भाई Rome was not made in a day.
Yeah, of course.
You know, so the success story जो हमें कभी कभी लगती है यार ये बंदा इतना बड़ा हो गया, तो आज अगर हम अंबानी की भी बात करें तो कि मुकेश की बात करेंगे तो उनके फादर की बात के बिना वो भी नहीं चलेगी.
बिल्कुल नहीं चलेगी.
पहली सीढ़ी किसने चलाई थी? पहली सीढ़ी में जो होता है ना एक्चुअल एफर्ट लगता है.
बिल्कुल.
आपके फादर ने जो काम किया होगा ना, तो वो शायद कभी कभी बच्चे को नज़र नहीं आता, वो एक अलग बात है. बट यू नो द फर्स्ट जनरेशन रूट्स, दैट्स द फाउंडेशन. And second generation is plucking the fruit.
Absolutely.
And third is perhaps you can have the juice.
Yeah.
So, you know, that definitely advantages are there from first layer to second layer, the multiple layer of your generation. But when you're talking about today's generation, who are in the comfort level, and now you're thinking of, you know, making something big, but definitely I would say that you need a little hard work, patience, and there, in case you want to be innovative, it's not the wealth, it is your product. And ambitiously, once you do something, there are ways of earning money, but there are ways where you earn your reputation, your status, your ability, the sensitivity of your personality. You know, both are different. So once you are aiming at a composite dialogue between a personality and the money, and you think that you become sustainable, so that is what balance needs to be done. So in that balance, perhaps, I think there needs to be woven towards a very, I would say, professionally managed practice with a professionally managed financial system. And once you are into that track, it is manageable, and it works. And I would say then even sky is not the limit. I can proudly say here with you that today we are not dearth of work.
Absolutely.
At my 50 years in experience now, today to my credit, I have done more than 60 airports plannings, and feasibility study, to master planning, to DPR, to terminal building, A to Z. In aviation, plus now today, because there is so much of transformation in Indian infrastructure today, we are into new shaping of cities. We are into new shaping of the infrastructure, transportation facilities. So we are into all railways, highways, waterways, you know, all. We into ferry terminal, we are into highways, into making intermodal stations. We are also into railway station redevelopment programs, and also into helipad and other facilities. I'm just narrating this beside the core architecture where you talk about commercial to a mall to a housing or an institution like IIM Ranchi, we did that also. But only thing is what I say is that once you keep your level and your mental status and the process of design where you are respected, somebody say, oh yes, here it is creative growth. You know, here is Professor Charanjit Shah or my son Gurpreet Shah. They feel comfortable. Yes, we will get that sort of a value addition. Today it is not only architecture, it is holistic architecture and planning. Today you're talking about, I don't know if the students I can address to them or the architects address to them. Today it is EPC mode.
Yes.
It is not only design, it is design, previously it was design and building construction. And now it is design plus construction plus your engineering.
Yes.
Which is again perhaps in the EPC mode, it is value engineering.
Yeah.
I need to cater to all those value engineering in terms of my design, in terms of the structure, in terms of my MEP, mechanical, electrical and plumbing system, where I can see that the contractor who is also working, he should get his dues and profit.
Absolutely.
So that is how there is an interface between a very dedicated architecture, sensitizing. Why? Because today somebody can say, why you fashion up building like this? It is becoming costly.
Yeah.
I need to make him understand that this aesthetics is not costly. It's a shape, but it is how it is being made. It is cost effective. So all this is how do you make your client understand the competence.
Right.
The competence is required, and competence is, I would say, that I don't have to practically demand. Today, our child, like young architects, they demand. But I think that we need to command.
Wow.
Once I command, and command is, I cannot say demanding leadership.
Yes.
I say commanding leadership. And commanding leadership will come when I am comfortable with my knowledge,
Absolutely.
my understanding, all the elements of applied architecture, which are practically holistic. I cannot be like only an artist and framing out a building in aesthetic term, but I must know the technology, how to execute it, how to execute it to minimum, affordable price. So it's therefore, in today's context, it is a composite dialogue between construction management, design management, project management, financial management, quality management. And unless and until you are holistic, see, it's like I walk in the front, but I look at the back.
Yeah.
I don't have eyes, but I need to open up my eyes where I can see both ways, and that is how we dream out. We make things work. Where that's why people very adorably call me as the airport king.
Yeah.
But why that? Because I didn't know ABC about the airports when I started first in my first journey with a national competition for Raipur Airport. I didn't know how the functionality or the other things work. What is the space distribution? What is the queuing length? How the airport planning is done? So I read all the IATA norms, everything, made myself comfortable to understand how the terminal works. So once you know that, then only you will try to put in things together.
Yeah.
So that is the progressiveness of any design. First, you need to understand the whole Bible, then go into the process. Never jump into the form first.
Yeah.
It's like understanding of the various parameters, engulf them together, then the process will give you the ability to create a form which is absolutely functional as well.
Beautiful. Very well put. And I want to add something. Sir mentioned construction, design and engineering. This is exactly what we are doing in this podcast as well. Understanding all three together and seeing how holistically it sticks together and what it creates. Sir kind of has given us the motto in that anecdote that he shared with us. Sir, you've been teaching as an academic and as somebody who has his own practice as well. Do you think management or financial management should become a part of the course now over the years? Do you think there is
Definitely.
a requirement for that?
Yes.
Because architects are not taught to talk about money in your professional studies. It's all about design. It's about opening up the creativity, in your minds. But it is not about management of fee and management of finances and management of any sort of a thing as well. So it should. Do you think you should add some sort of a subject matter to it?
I think, you see, with time, we need to change the methodology of teaching also.
Yes.
Still today, what I see in our colleges, whatever for the 100, 200 years back, we were teaching in schools of architecture, the same process is there. And it's all design studios dominated.
Yeah.
So in any architecture college you go, it's always design. And other subjects are practically taken as second class.
Yeah.
So whereas what happens, and when the young architects come out, he is not treated as a complete architect. There are deficiencies in his understanding. He can, once you're in design, you can fly over, you can do anything of that nature when you're in school.
Yeah.
But when you come practically, you have to execute it.
Yes.
So how do you execute? You need to understand the costing,
Absolutely.
estimation. Then, you have to see that what I am making, I am again then dependent upon my engineer for the structure.
Yeah.
I am dependent upon the MEP from another mechanical engineer. I don't know. But unless and until I know the basic, I know the systems, I know the evolution. An architect perhaps is conceived by the society and by himself also.
Yes.
Because unless and until I start looking at things in a holistic manner where I do innovation, sometimes what happens, my building is inspired from an engineering structure.
Yeah.
So that engineering structure becomes an element.
Yeah.
Like my great master Raj Aggarwal, he made Hall of Nation, Hall of Industries.
Yes.
It's like a concrete space frame. You've seen a steel space frame, but he made the space frame structure, Hall of Nation, in concrete.
Yeah.
Very fascinating stuff, but inspired from engineering.
Yeah.
So sometimes you get a vocabulary from the engineering innovation to architectural design ability.
Yeah.
So this is how you travel.
Absolutely.
So similarly, when I see even again Rajwal's building, STC building, State Trading Corporation building, which is like a veneer girder.
Yeah.
Again inspired from a steel veneer girder, and that vocabulary is put into the building.
Yeah.
So this is how sometimes that's why I appreciate them. Like even when I see Rajwal's building, I see Joseph Allenstein building, I mean, these are my like learning schools of architecture.
They are your heroes, they are your gurus.
I
they are
take
your...
a temple of architecture.
Oh, wow.
Because every detail is a piece of worship.
Wow.
If you go to India International Center, you see the texture, the form, the sustainability, the play of jali, the interface, shading, how to cut the southwest sun, how do you see the penetration of north sun is there, as per our climatical condition. So these are the forces which make a good design. Unless and until you see your buildings are oscillating with the sun oscillation. Today we have tools. I can stimulate the building with the sun oscillation. So I know I live in a composite climate where it's a lot of heat in summer. I go in 50 degrees. How do you cut that temperature 50 degrees to comfortably 26 or 28 degrees? These all things are evolution in the passive ways of design where I layer my building. I wrap my building. अब आप देखोगे कि हमारे पुरानी बच्चियां अभी भी स्कूटर में अब रायपुर चले जाओ या टेम्परेचर इतने लंबे ग्लव्स डाले होते हैं सो दैट स्किन डजंट गेट बर्न वी पुट दुपट्टा ऑन सो फेस डजंट गेट द सनबर्न सो दिस दुपट्टा इज ए लेयर टू प्रोटेक्ट द hot sun touching my skin. So when you talk about your building skin, how do you layer it? So that phenomena needs to be understood. That's why in your old heritage, you see we layer the building with a jali. And I say, it is hot here. When I say, it's cool here. So that's the functionality of Jali. So that is how once I understand, then I start playing with layering the building, enveloping the building, wrapping the building. So when you wrap the building in a manner that on the north I can have wider opening, wider glass, because there is a cool north, I get absolutely cool, comfortable light, no sun.
Yeah.
East, I get a very cool, comfortable morning sun, inviting. But when it comes to south, it is like this.
Yeah.
But when it comes to west, it is like this. So harshest sun is the west. So I need a small fenestration which protects the building from west, so that the harsh, hot sun of the west doesn't go inside the building.
Nice.
That's why you see, and in the old Vashu Shastra, some things are written,
Yes.
but we come into the myth and we start looking at it in a different manner. But you know,
वास्तु शास्त्र की तो परिभाषा बदल लिया.
बदल देते हैं ना. When it comes to fanatism,
Yeah.
then it is different. But
Completely.
when it comes to functionality,
Yeah.
then it should be understood that north is the lowest,
Yeah.
southwest the highest.
Highest.
How do you cut the southwest sun, making the southwest higher and north is the lowest,
Yeah.
and then you have the courtyard in between, and the whole thing becomes sustainable.
Yeah.
So functionality with evolution through the solar oscillation will give you perfection. So I generally say that the natural phenomena of sun movement, wind movement, and the water resource management are the three things, in case they are addressed at the time of planning, will give you absolutely sustainable architecture. That's why in Vashu Shastra we say water body should be in the northeast,
Yeah.
and northeast has to be the lowest.
Lowest.
So once you do that, the terrain has to move, and you store your water on the northeast and make the southwest as the highest to cut the southwest sun. So these are all functionalities which need to be realized at the time of making the design. But sadly, we make it the other way, and we go into cosmetic architecture, which is like putting a lipstick on,
Yeah.
and we put glass. We put glass on north, south, east, west. Then I say, oh, I'm putting double insulating glass and making it LEED decorated. Well, I think that's the criminality of architecture, where the I would say it's like using those materials which are not required on that facade. So one should be very sensitive when you're doing a facade design, how it inculcates into sustainability.
Wow. Wow. This was a master class in the design philosophy of Professor Shah. Sir, which building that the creative group has designed is your favorite, and why?
See, I'll tell you, there is a touch of heart to, like I feel very proud being a Sikh, being a Punjabi, then being an Indian.
Yeah.
I was very fortunate to create Kartarpur Corridor, which is on the border of Pakistan,
Yes.
India.
Yes.
So when my son got this opportunity, we were nominated for this project, and Gurpreet said that ये काम है, Papa कर लें, something like that. It's a very small project. That time it was just 5,000 square foot of building, so the people can just pass on the corridor. But I was very fascinated because it was a journey connecting with Guru Nanak.
Yes.
And perhaps Guru Nanak is with my heart. Then I started looking at it more, that how do you create emotions in such places? And then I tried it. I started looking at it, reading more about Guru Nanak's travel of his 30,000, more than 30,000 kilometers of travel from Haridwar to Makkah to other places. And then I wanted to insert that story into the terminal building.
Okay.
Then his he's known to be as like oneness of Nanak, is that on one side he had a Hindu, other side he had a Muslim, and he said, Awwal Allah Noor Upaya, Kudrat ke sab bande, ek noor te sab jog upje, kon bhale, kon mande. So that is the oneness which I wanted to insert there. So I put it. And I minded that when we were talking the Home Minister to Home Secretary and giving the vision of Nanak and putting this framework, the small project went up to 400 crore project.
Wow.
A 30,000 square meters of an area of terminal building where about 10,000 people will come and go from there. So, and then I gave this to how the legacy of Nanak could be put. So all that we tried to put in, and today I am very proudly, because that is to my heart, because I just want that the place which you do should have belongingness, and that place became, and when our Honorable Prime Minister went there, he had a selfie there where we put Ek Onkar, and he stood there and took a selfie. And from Red Fort on Independence Day, Honorable Prime Minister said that our technocrats, I am so honored to say this, that within 4 months they were able to do a project of 400 crores.
Wow.
And made this successful. So that I think nothing more can be satisfying to a professional, and particularly to my son Gurpreet Shah, who was instrumental in doing it.
Yeah.
And that is the type of, and other project today I'm telling you is Ayodhya Airport.
Yes.
Now we're doing Ayodhya Airport, which is again about like 2,000 crore project. This is an integrated terminal building which we are designing. Why I am naming this here? No, I have read Ramayana.
Yes.
I have read all the 7 cantos of Ramayana.
Yeah.
Now I wish to put the complete philosophy of Ramayana, and people should start looking at, oh, I look at Ram Lalla here. Till you reach Ayodhya, the temple, but you are at the airport, you should say, Siya Ram. That is perhaps the intent of architecture ability.
Wow.
To put soul, and soul is, if I make Ayodhya, I put Ram, and if I go to Varanasi, I say Varanasi is Jagannath, and that is what we are doing. We are also doing Varanasi,
yeah.
And I am also doing Bhubaneswar Airport.
Yeah.
I'm just putting you the pictorial thought of architecture ability is, once we're doing the Bhubaneswar, we put Jagannath Puri. And Jagannath Puri is famous for the chariot movement.
Yeah.
Pulling the chariot. And we said, why not make this as a chariot? So we made the terminal building in a design. We have put in the sun, the sundial, Konark wheel,
Yes.
temple motifs, and the chariot moves. And you say, Jai Jagannath. So that is the type of philosophy which we need to put. And once you put that, then the place is, you have the belongingness.
Wow.
It touches your heart. And it's a similar thing. Why I am narrating this is, we must understand the place, people, and purpose. And that is what we Akshardhan metro station at Gandhinagar. Terminating station in the second line of Ayodhya Gandhinagar, Ahmedabad Gandhinagar line, we made the complete motive and philosophy as it is Akshardham. And we put in the Krishna's, all the episodes within the station. And once you come at the station, you say Radhe. So that is the type of flavor. Particularly in these type of places, we wish that we put soul into architecture. And probably why I am narrating this, we are into first urban ropeways in Varanasi. from railway station to Vishwanath temple with 5 stations. So once you move into the ropeways and you're moving from one station to another station, it should be Vishwanath.
Wow.
So that philosophy we inculcated into the ropeway as well.
Yeah.
Even the car of the ropeway is designed with a purpose. So it's a miniature thinking process. Maybe it is a very capacity building large project, but you have to think from a very small miniature detail to a larger detail.
Yeah.
Never think the large projects do not have the micro level thought process.
Yeah.
It starts from the micro to macro level once, but in case you do not go into the micro level system, you cannot achieve the bigger picture. The bigger is like from a smaller steps, you get a bigger achievement.
Yeah.
So one cannot be into a rut, not into a rush, into the profession of architecture. It's a journey. I would say that perhaps we, the young guys, I say they see the high and low tides of the sea. Oceanic is like the whole world, or I would say the journey is like an ocean. And we get, sometimes we're very happy and this thing, sometimes we're very sad. It's like high and low tides, but once that's working. But once you go deep into the sea, deep into the thought of design process in detail, you get the perfection. Then you are in the depth of the ocean.
That is where the calm is.
Yes, when you're in the depth of the ocean, you're absolutely cool. So that coolness of mind will be away from the harsh high and low tides, and you reach the excellence. So perhaps that needs to be understood. Thirdly, I would say that never be like a frog in a well.
Yeah.
We all architects think that we only design. No. That perception perhaps is like frog in a well, and as a frog, I think that the well is my ocean, but that's not true.
That's not true.
I need to come out from the well and go into the various other elements of applied architecture and make a holistic design. When it is holistic design, where you have very rightly said, we are not taught the professional practice properly.
Yeah.
We are not taught the financial management, which is the prime concern as in today.
Absolutely.
That's why today it is project management consultant who are leading the project and not an architect.
Yeah.
So once an architect becomes a project management by himself, then only he will rise to that level where he is being heard and he is being respected and he can command his leadership.
आज वो you talked about the frog in the well mentality, right? उसको हिंदी में ना कुमंडू कहते हैं, कुएं का मेंढक. How important is emotion to understand architecture or to design properly? How important is to understand emotion as an architect for you?
देखो मैं तो इसको कहता हूँ कि I was very happy when I was nomadic. When I was nomadic, I had all emotions. Now I become robotic. When you become robotic, you have no emotions. You become mechanical. And mechanical perhaps is not humanistic.
Yeah.
So first is that I have to become a good human being.
To be a good architect.
Humanistic approach, and the flavor of humanistic approach has to be reflected into your human settlement.
Wow.
That is required. तो अगर इमोशंस नहीं है तो मैं डेड हूँ, मैं मरा हुआ हूँ. तो देखो जीवन में एक ही चीज़ है कि इमोशंस होंगे तो मेरा प्यार आएगा, प्यार आएगा तो उसका दीदार आएगा, जिसको कहते हैं सी दैट इज द दर्शन. दर्शन इज द फिलॉसफी मीन्स आई एम कनेक्ट. Connect can only come Maybe in any of the human settlement, whatever we create cities, it has to have some emotion. That's why, हमारी जो सभ्यता है ना, संस्कृति है ना, पुरानी में बहुत इमोशंस हैं.
Yes.
लेकिन हम, क्योंकि हमें बड़े कॉपी पेस्ट करने में मजा आ रहा है, वी थिंक वी बिकमिंग ग्लोबल.
नहीं, हमें अपनी अहमता नहीं पता, हमें अपनी
पता
खुद की वो नहीं पता अहमियत क्या है.
तो मैं वही कह रहा हूँ कि भाई तुम अपने आप को समझो.
बिल्कुल.
आई विल टेल यू, वी आर द लार्जेस्ट. This subcontinent civilization is the oldest.
Yes.
And we have so much treasure with us. You pick up any of your architecture, of any temple architecture, any other architecture is far, far superior than you go around the globe. You may talk about Roman architecture, Greek architecture or any other architecture, but we are ancient to that. मैं तो कहता हूँ कि यार कभी हमने केव आर्किटेक्चर देखा हो अजंता एलोरा का, तभी आपको हैरान हो जाता है बंदा, यार कैसे बना. And if you see these great gopurams and various other things, and how the one stone cap has been put on top, तो उसको ही समझ नहीं आता.
स्तूपास.
हाँ, तो लेकिन समझना है ना.
बिल्कुल.
तो उसको क्यों नहीं मैं समझता. तो अच्छा, मैं तो इसलिए कहता हूँ, यू ट्रूएस्ट एग्जाम्पल इज द राजस्थान, हॉटेस्ट प्लेस.
यस.
And you said sustainability, and that is most sustainable cities are Jaipur, Jodhpur, and Jaisalmer, and all these Udaipur.
Lakes.
City of lakes. There is no water, but there is no dearth of water.
Yes.
Because they have made a system where all the rainwater is being controlled into the lakes.
Yes.
It's only how you derive your cities and make it sustainable.
Can we do that today in the modern system?
Why not? See, today I'm very sadly to say this, that we are into cosmetic architecture. We are into flavored architecture. We are not into sustainable architecture. So today, why, if one rain in Delhi, we are all full of water.
Yeah.
And it's like 10 feet and our cars are practically filled with water.
Yeah.
Why can't we control that water?
Cars become boats in Delhi rains.
Yes.
Mumbai, यही हाल है.
Bangalore.
सब यही हाल है.
Bangalore was supposed to be a city, green city.
Absolutely.
And today it doesn't have water.
Yeah.
So it's like we're doing capacity buildings, we're making large infrastructure, but we are not making large natural infrastructure.
Yeah.
So once we try to understand how, I think maybe that was you were to ask me.
I want to ask you about the fact that I'm actually, sir, मैं आपको बताऊँ, मैं बहुत इरिटेट होता हूँ इस बात से जब भी मैं किसी से घर बनाने की भी बात कर रहा हूँ. Somebody who's building their own home. I understand 200 गज, 300 गज, 500 गज does not matter. But something as simple as rain water harvesting, आप करो तो आपके पास हमेशा पानी रहेगा. Why are people not even thinking about it? And the cost of doing it is not very expensive.
That is what awareness, that is the mindset. In case we are able to generate that sort of mindset, that city is mine.
Yeah.
This city is mine, this neighborhood is mine, this house is mine. And once I start looking at it, and if I start looking at every miniature of the things, we think that the government will come and do something. That's a wrong perception.
Yeah.
It is a citizen participation which makes a difference.
उसके बिना नहीं होगा.
नहीं होगा. So we need to socialize ourselves. We need to recognize ourselves as a absolutely knowledgeable citizen to perform. We are not performing to that level. Once we start looking at the city as my own city and all the public places are my places, then only there will be, and that is a revolution which we need to look into and make our next generation mind it very sensitive.
Absolutely.
They understand, they are knowledgeable, they are not selfish, they want a community development, But that, in case we have that sort of a public-people relationship, which can make our nation stronger.
Wow. There are visions like smart city projects, smart city का mission आया, and it's being executed. काफ़ी 60-70% काम भी हो चुका है. Now there is something called Net Zero 2047. 100 years of independence के दौरान. It's the medium where we are targeting carbon-free India by 2070 or 75. So 2047 net zero. What's your take on it? क्या हमें करने की ज़रूरत है? क्या होता दिख रहा है आपको? Please.
देखो ऐसे है कि to be very frank, I like the mission. I have been propagating on this.
Yes.
That by 2047 will be 100 years old in our independence.
Yeah.
That's a big number.
Yeah.
And we are growing. By 2047, we would be more than 100 crores urbanized people. We need urban areas for more than 100 crores.
Yes.
Perhaps maybe the vision is that we will be 40 trillion economy.
Yeah.
40 trillion. Today we are 5 trillion.
5 trillion, yeah.
5 trillion to travel to 40 trillion is a big lead.
Yeah.
And today, minded, our roads are choking.
Yes.
How do you vision that? I think that is what, to me, with the government also, we are hand in glove with government, giving vision, perhaps also with our Honorable Prime Minister.
Yes.
There are a lot of debates which are happening, that we need to see that how we create that sort of a infrastructure. Now, why I am saying is that today cities are already choked,
Overburdened.
There is no space.
Yeah.
So whatever is left out is maybe some aviation land, maybe some government land where I say a railway land, where there are only tracks.
Yeah.
So I have sufficient area where I can do development at the railway station and make that as the epicenter.
Okay.
Today, the policy of government, along with the planners, is that how the railway stations becomes an intermodal hub, where the metro, the road, the railways, maybe also a line with the airport is connected, and it become like an intermodal station,
Yes.
a district center,
Yeah.
where I have the commercial, I also have the retail, I have various other facilities within, and I layer the city. Today, perhaps in the larger context of city planning, we need to dig out more open spaces on the ground. And either I have no other compulsion, either I take layering the city on top, or I go underground.
We go underground.
So both the layers are being now, we're struggling with economics.
Yeah.
I will be very happy if I put all the metro station underground.
Yeah.
But I am with the financial constraint, we try
limited
to put in, like about 20% which goes underground, and rest we're making elevated. Similarly, we have flyovers. We are now talking about layering the city on top as one layer and then making the other things, and we get the ground clear. So that is what is required, where the city today has issues like sound pollution, air pollution, water pollution, that is rising the highest. I live in the capital city of India with PM 2.5 rising to 550. I am a passive smoker.
PM 10 hitting out maximum 999.
Yes.
In the core onset of winter. Every year. Sir, hyper COVID patient, long COVID. And after that, for the last 3 years, I've been smoking this air, not breathing it. So you're absolutely right.
So that is what I am trying to insist, that sensitizing our development, not that we are to rut into capacity building, but we need to be very conscious in creating a sustainable net zero. So how that can be done? So now if suppose I am a passive smoker,
Yeah.
I am a black lungs.
Yeah.
Now how do you stop this? But now I would say we have to change our mindset. There are many more other tools which are coming, like we're talking about hydrogen, we're talking about battery oriented vehicles.
Yeah, electric vehicles.
But that perhaps is also not the option.
Not enough.
We get maximum pollution from our waste,
Yeah,
solid waste, garbage.
such a big problem.
Our garbage is flying everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
When I was coming here and I see the garbage dumps on the road,
Yeah,
and then the dust. Mind it, Delhi particular dust is very sandy
yeah.
and very fine particles.
Okay.
It flies. When there is a wind, it comes up. It comes to my this level,
Yeah.
at 10-foot level, and then it's all dust, and I take dust inside.
Yeah.
So that is most sensitive. Third aspect, which is pollution, is my building industry, where you see all over that we need to, though there are regulations, but that not be obeyed.
Yeah.
All a fine dust is being, flying
Yeah.
everywhere, and that's again creating lot of pollution.
Absolutely.
So if I am able to create controlling my building systems,
Yeah.
and it will also come with awareness. In the larger private sector, I see that these things are obeyed.
Yeah.
And if we come to, it's like making a methodology, making a Bible, making regulations, making an operating system. We start functioning and we can achieve this.
Yeah.
But that has to be, sooner it is done,
The
better
better it
will
is.
be for the cities.
Yes.
Because I would say that this is happening all across India.
Yeah.
Not that I'm talking about Delhi.
Just Delhi, yeah.
Even Chennai's PM 2.5 is not better
very
than
low.
Delhi.
Wow.
And though it is a coastal place where there is a sort of an exit.
Yes.
There's an egress to the air,
Yeah.
whereas probably Bombay, Chennai, all these places are coastal,
Yeah.
where there's an egress to the polluted air,
Yes.
which can exit to the oceanic side.
Yeah.
So these are, I think, we collectively and possibly from government, we need a very systematized policy on making cities we are at the bottom today.
Yeah.
We are most polluted. We are even more polluted than Bangladesh.
In the world, most
World.
polluted city in the
Yes.
world.
So, I can become 40 trillion,
Yeah.
but I have to really look into how. There are another aspect of looking at it is, one is that we grow, other is the per capita.
Yeah.
Per capita will come with education and skill management.
Yeah.
So what is happening is today that we have practically unskilled labor.
Oh, that is a big topic. That is another challenge. Yes.
So I would say that when you're talking about industry, I can get very good engineers,
Yes.
very qualified structural engineers,
Absolutely.
but when it comes to doing the work, I don't get the skilled labor.
Yeah.
So there has to be some mechanism, and government is now seriously working. Industry is lack of place, people. They are also helping in, and I, as being a lead architect here with 55, I have a Smart Habitat Foundation,
Yes.
where I also try to teach
Yes.
skilled people, unskilled people, how we become skilled.
Yeah.
How we manage our works, how the system has to be generated. I know that, last 30 years, I know that people were not with helmet, people with sites didn't have a toilet, didn't have a place where a good drinking water facility is there, but all those things are now being properly managed, and it is like dignity of labor has to be maintained.
Yes. Wow. That's a huge challenge again. Last two questions to you. One, जब भी हम बाहर देश जाते हैं, वापस आते हैं, अपने एयरपोर्ट पे लैंड करते हैं, फर्स्ट थिंग वी से, हम कब सुधरेंगे, राइट? When will Will we have world cities like Dubai or Singapore in our country? If yes, what do you think the future looks like for India? Please.
देखो, it's a very large nation.
Yeah.
We have about 140 crores
Absolutely.
people here. And it's very difficult, though it is not that it is impossible.
Yeah.
But when talking about such large population, and there is a distinct, graph is like this. A person earning about 1,000 rupees per annum to a person maybe earning that level.
Yeah.
वहाँ पे बड़ी मुश्किलें हैं.
बिल्कुल है.
लेकिन मैं एक चीज़ आपको इसलिए कहना चाहता हूँ कि अप्रिशिएट करना चाहता हूँ कि आज का जो इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर आप देख रहे हो, that is no less than global. If you see any of the airports, maybe Chennai,
Absolutely.
Bangalore, Delhi, Hyderabad, all they are global flavor.
Yes.
And even our infrastructure is growing very fast.
Yeah.
The transportation system is one of the largest in the world.
Yeah.
Similarly, the rail. In the rail, I think we are the largest.
We're the largest.
Largest.
We're the largest.
America doesn't have rail system. We have the largest because 180%, 90% of our people travel by rail.
Absolutely.
And
even the by road, soon to be the 5th largest in the world.
Yes. So now when you talk about that sort of a equation,
Yeah.
where we miss is the civic sense. Where we miss is only discipline. Where we miss is the administration. Where we miss is the civic amenities, which perhaps at the larger platform when you're talking about things are functioning. But when you talk about at the municipal level, we are a failure.
सर एक एडमिट करूँ आज आपके सामने एक बात. एक आपके सामने एक बात एडमिट करना चाहता हूँ मैं. इनफैक्ट टू माय व्यूअर्स आल्सो. जब मैं यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ मिशिगन गया पढ़ने, तो आई हैड गॉन फ्रॉम आई वाज 24 years old और माइंडसेट वही था ना देसी कि कहीं भी कुछ फेंक देते हैं, कहीं भी कुछ कर देते हैं. एंड आई रियलाइज्ड कि ये लोग लाइन में खड़े होते थे यूनिवर्सिटी में, किसी भी कैफ़े में या कहीं भी, एंड यू डोंट कट द लाइन. प्लस यू मेंटेन अ स्पेस बिटवीन द पर्सन अहेड ऑफ यू एंड समबडी बिहाइंड यू मेंटेन्स दैट स्पेस. सो एक प्राइवेसी, स्पेस की प्राइवेसी भी हम लोग ऑक्यूपाई नहीं करते थे किसी और की. And then there were things like, if I throw something on the road, I know that they will tell me off. And I'm not talking about Americans or anybody, even a student from any other country. He will say, hey, why did you do that? Pick it up, throw it in the dustbin. They will be blunt to me. इसलिए मैं वो गलती नहीं करता था कि यार कोई टोक देगा. इसीलिए मैं लाइन में चिपकता नहीं था किसी से, या भीड़ नहीं करता था, या ओवर क्राउड नहीं करते थे हम. एंड वी यूज्ड टू स्टैंड प्रॉपर्ली एंड वेट फॉर आवर टर्न बिकॉज पीपल विल टेल मी ऑफ. वो कल्चर सर अब यूथ में आ रहा है. व्हेन यू सी इन अ कैफ़े, आई वाज एट अ कैफ़े 2 days back and I frequently visit that place. People wait for their turn with a distance, knowing that the other person will tell them off कि बॉस पीछे खड़े हो जाओ, मेंटेन योर गैप. कोई लाइन तोड़ के आगे जाता है तो उसको टोकते हैं लोग अब कि सर हम भी खड़े, आप भी आइए. सो आई थिंक वो एवोल्यूशन है ऑफ द माइंड सेट ऑफ द सिविक सेंस दैट यूर टॉकिंग अबाउट. इट इज़ कमिंग. आई ऑल्सो नोटिस स्पेशली इन दिल्ली हॉर्न बाजी कम हो गई है. अगर आप सड़क पे 10 साल पुराना ध्यान करें तो वो हॉन्किंग रेगुलर थी, कांस्टेंट थी. अब फिर भी कम हो गई है. आई एम इन अ सेमी अर्बन सॉर्ट ऑफ अ प्लेस, यू नो दिस प्लेस वेरी वेल. इट इज़ लाइक एन अर्बन विलेज. यहाँ अभी हम लोग रूम में बैठे, हमें कोई हॉर्न की आवाज़ नहीं आ रही है बिकॉज लोगों ने वो हॉन्किंग करनी कम कर दी है ओवर द टाइम बिकॉज इट्स टू मच ऑफ अ स्ट्रेस. सो आई थिंक दैट कम्स विद एवोल्यूशन एंड द नेक्स्ट जनरेशन पॉइंटिंग इट आउट टू यू कि पापा आप ये क्या कर रहे हो, मामा आप ये क्या कर रहे हो. इट बिकम्स अ पार्ट ऑफ आवर civic duty also कि I can't disappoint my own kids. So I think it's the society sort of disciplining you in a soft way, saying यार तू पैकेट यहाँ क्यों फेंका है, यार why you spitting your chewing gum here. एंड दिल्ली के अंदर वो आप नोटिस करेंगे, हम वो मजाक उड़ाते हैं ना कि दीवारों पे लाली लगी होती है हमारे यहाँ कि कोई भी आता है थूक के चला जाता है. वो भी कहीं ना कहीं टोकना या रोकना शुरुआत हो चुकी है एक बहुत अच्छे लेवल पर. देयर वाज दिस दिल्ली मिनिस्टर हु वाज टॉकिंग अबाउट कि दीवारों को इतना सुंदर कर दो कि उसको गंदा करने का मन ना करे. इट जस्ट बिकम्स अ माइंड सेट आई थिंक, एंड यू आर एब्सोल्युटली स्पॉट ऑन कि सिविक सेंस का एक बहुत बड़ा रोल है उसमें.
यू राइट. देखो ये तो विद टाइम आई विल टेल यू दैट Sridharan, I also take him as the godfather of metro.
Absolutely he is.
You know, when he started first metro, it started from East Delhi.
Yeah.
And the most notorious area.
Yeah.
To Kashmiri Gate. And to my mind it came, यार वहाँ तो सारा कबाड़ है.
Absolutely.
वो ये तो मेट्रो को खत्म कर देंगे.
बना तो दिए, पता नहीं कितने साल चले
क्या होगा. लेकिन hats off to this man's vision.
Yeah.
He created a system.
Yes.
And spick and span. And the truest example of a good development is, I would say, Delhi Metro.
Absolutely.
Sridharan made a culture. And today, if you see, you never spit in the metro,
No.
you never eat into the metro, and you are absolutely disciplined into the metro. नहीं तो हमारी रेलवे स्टेशन में, रेलवेज में हम जाएं तो लोग मूंगफली खा के वहाँ
फेंकते हैं,
लेकिन वहाँ पे बिल्कुल साफ है. सो इट इज़ हाउ द प्रोसेस इज जनरेटेड, एंड यू आर एब्सोल्युटली राइट, एंड दिस इज डेफिनेटली गोइंग टू टेक शेप अप. Maybe it takes time, but I think we are now getting aware of this, and this is happening.
I don't see a lot of people rushing on the road. जैसे होता ना zigzag driving होती थी पहले, कि somebody is rushing, some young gun who thinks speed is, whatever, speed is cool, yeah, whatever, need for speed, yeah, all these mottos were there. People watching Top Gun, I live for speed. वो सब वो एक culture था, right? It's not there. Maybe an odd case, maybe, but I don't see it around South Delhi anymore. I don't see it in a lot of parts of Delhi anymore. It's all in evolution. So, pertaining next सवाल, you have the second generation with you, Gurpreet ji and Prapreet ji working with you, and now the son, the third generation is coming around, Astuj. What are your expectations being the first generation architect? आप पहले तो आप ये difference बताइएगा अपनी ideology, Gurpreet ji की ideology में, and then the next generation, and what are your expectations out of them in the future?
देखो हर जनरेशन के अपने गुड एंड बैड पॉइंट्स हैं
जी.
आई वुड से दैट आवर जनरेशन वाज वेरी सेंसिटिव, वेरी ओबीडियंट एंड रिस्पेक्टफुल टू द एल्डर्स.
यस, एंड फियरफुल, डरते भी थे.
और नेक्स्ट जनरेशन जो अभी, मैं आई वुड से गुरप्रीत, मुझे इसमें वो पिक्चर याद आ जाती है, आज कल और कल. कपूर फैमिली, पृथ्वीराज कपूर टू रणधीर कपूर टू तो वो गैप तो होगा. लेकिन कभी कभी ये सोचना पड़ता है कि ये मत समझना कि जो बड़ा है वो ही इंटेलिजेंट है. आई शुड नॉट थिंक दैट व्हाट आई डिड एंड व्हाट आई एम डूइंग इज द फिटेस्ट.
ओके.
Wherever with time, with generation, you need to adjust and complement. The journey follows. So I take that there are many good points where I was stuck, and now my son Gurpreet has taken a lead, and he is understood, and he is making a capacity building. He is making it very large. When I was there, I was thinking of, started with 5 people to maybe, to my period, about 50 people or 60 people. Now Gurpreet has about 250 people around the globe, 300 people working, and in a professional company where we have all architects, planners, engineers. And that is what is required, because in today's global competitive world, you need to rise to that corporate level with holistic approach. AECOM, if you have heard the name, Edges, these are the large PMCs, maybe KPMG or JLL or PwC, all these global players are actually leading. And I say we need to make in India, made by India, make in India. So why not we as an architect planner are also Indians. Why global?
Yeah.
I am not against, but I'm just trying to put in because they have the capacity.
They do.
They have all the professional interwoven at one window and they deliver.
Yeah.
So why not we become one window to deliver?
Yeah.
And that is what, I would say that in Creative Group, we are one of the now developed into from freelance to a corporate where I can say that we give A to Z in aviation. We're the only company which is giving A to Z consultants.
Yeah.
From, I can talk about airspace conflict, runway design, feasibility study, terminal building, taxiways, marking, lighting, Cat 1, Cat 2, Cat 3, how the whole thing works. And that is, I proudly say that we have now done the biggest master plan in airport is Nijgarh in Nepal with 4 runways and about 20,000 hectares of land.
Wow.
With a terrain difference, runway difference between the terminal more than 10 meters.
Yeah.
So that is a type of technology which we as the Indian consultants need to develop to be at par with the global peers. Minded that we have yet to born in competing.
Yeah.
We can be, we again say frog in a well, but when you compare with a European guy or with a American company, then you see very small sometimes. But now I say, then I say 60 airports in globally, none of the consultant has done that sort of a work, which proudly as an Indian consultant, I can say that that is the type of thing with God's grace.
Yeah.
If we all Indian companies collaborate together, cooperate together, and various phases of interface of consultants are bringing at one platform, we can create beautiful
Magic.
Designs.
Yeah.
And lastly, I would also narrate, maybe that you can ask me that question about my design center, Akasa.
Oh, that is okay. So guys, you need to know this. मैं सर से जब मिलने गया, so it was, वो उसी दिन भी हम रिकॉर्ड कर सकते थे. सर said that himself कि तेरा पॉडकास्ट तो आज ही हो गया. But when I met him, he took me on a tour of this beautiful 30,000 square feet design area that he's creating. And I think it's better that you hear from him. Sir, आप थोड़ा बताएं वो क्यों बना रहे हो, क्या बना रहे हो?
देखो ऐसे है ना, मैं तो कहूँगा ये जो 55 साल की साधना है, ये प्रैक्टिस जो है ना, अगर इसको आप गिमिक नहीं समझो, बिकॉज एवरी स्टेज ऑफ द प्रोफेशन आई लर्न and I've been like a freelance to designing, doing construction. I did even build making the building as a contractor, and then you evolve through the various system, becoming a valuer, being an arbitrator, legal, high court arbitrator, appointed by the high court, and those things also I did. Then all this process made us learn. Then I became a teacher, director in School of Architecture, in Vastukala Academy, in Jamia Millia Islamia. I have that sort of a flavor also. ये सब कुछ करने के साथ साथ जब हम चले तो, और फिर मेरे पास जो ऐसे प्रोजेक्ट आए जहाँ पे हमें ना काफ़ी चीज़ें इंटीग्रेसी बिटवीन वेरियस elements, art, other things, then I thought that why not create a vibrant place where we put all arts and design together. So that is, in this 30,000 square feet of an area, we are thinking of all designs from materials, clay, molding, ceramic, like put into the furnace, and then baking. Then I talk about fashion, threading, weaving, textile, filming, all that would be part, music. Now 10 pillars of design where you talk about all, sensitizing the 5 elements of the body. They're very important. How do you sensitize? With 5 elements of the body and the 5 senses.
Yes.
Correlate them. And once you correlate them, then only you will understand the holistic design. design is an evolution. It can be through the music, it can be through the paint, artwork, to color, to textile, to various materials. Again, when you talk about 5 elements, 5 भूतक शरीर में जो है ना, वो सारा डिज़ाइन है. तो डिज़ाइन को जब हम इकट्ठा करेंगे, वो आकाशा में हमने डाला है. And that is the truest spirit. I'm just telling that once you go there, you will have all arts. It's like, I would say, Indian Vedic Design Center.
Wow.
The philosophy of Indian Vedic Design Center. Yesterday also I went somewhere. We're talking about the various art forms, maybe from the south to Nagara art, to other forms of architecture, to Dravidian architecture, to cave architecture, to various arts, maybe, Tejora art, to various other forms of art, like Bastar art. It's a tribal art.
Yeah.
But there is no, Fulkari from Punjab. All these are various elements which are practically hidden treasure. Why not explore that? I think we from this center will see that we rise to our export from these things,
Wow.
And the cottage industry, we make it rich. And once you make that cottage industry rich, it is like you're giving empowerment to a villager. He will not move to the cities. He will be there itself. And this design center will also give a holistic understanding, the interface between artist to the architect to an interior designer, and to a fashion. How fashion comes. How the textile comes. It is the interface which makes the lifestyle, and lifestyle is holistic design.
Wow.
So probably that would be a training center, will be like a chit chat, will be like gup shop. Have a cup of coffee, sit there, and you visualize, and you can achieve. Every person, every soul has a design element within. Let him come there and explore the possibilities of his own design into a real design. So that is what design is all about.
Brilliant. Sir is also creating an audio video podcast room there. तो मेरा तो देखो ना अभी इंटरेस्ट उधर ही है सबसे ज़्यादा. सो आई हैव ऑलरेडी रिक्वेस्टेड हिम कि सर कभी कभी मुझे भी वहाँ एंट्री मिल जाए. आई नो आई एम नॉट एन आर्किटेक्ट, आई नो आई एम नॉट एन आर्किटेक्चर स्टूडेंट, बट आप मुझे जगह दे दें वहाँ, तो कभी कभी आपके साथ वो कॉफ़ी हम भी इंजॉय कर लेंगे. प्रोफेसर चरणजीत शाह, दिस वॉज अ वेरी इनलाइटनिंग कॉन्वर्सेशन. I have had the pleasure of actually talking to you the second time today, and it is always something that I look forward in brilliant individuals, that people like you and other people that I meet inspire people like me. Not being somebody who's a student of the art, but I have learned a lot, and I'm reading a lot on it, and I get inspired completely, and I hope my audiences as well. If you have any questions, please write to me at India's #1 Construction Podcast @gmail.com. Follow me on Instagram at India's #1 Construction Podcast. Currently, we are on 4 audio platforms: Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcast and Jio7, and YouTube and Instagram. आपके वीडियो सारे वहाँ अवेलेबल हैं. अगर चरणजीत सर के लिए आपके कोई सवाल हैं, प्लीज़ मुझे भेजिए. आई विल फॉरवर्ड इट टू देम. सर उसका आंसर देंगे तो मैं आपको शेयर करूँगा. थैंक यू फॉर ट्यूनिंग इन. हैव अ ग्रेट डे.